What is up, guys? Everyone here, coming at you finally with the new kind of videos I promised for my 100 subscribers. Now, one thing before we begin is that I owe you once again an apology because I didn't upload the video as I was telling you that I will, because I was really tired and I didn't have the time and everything. So because of that, I decided to just take a little bit of time to relax, film it right, and then upload it. So hopefully you will forgive me, but yeah, that's how it's going to go. If I'm seeing that I'm just not in the mood, I'm not going to film, so you will have like a ruined video. So just to let you guys know that ahead of time. Anyway, this is a new type of videos that I promised, and this is my top videos, which going through collection cards that I have, cards that I do have, cards that I just haven't, I have, and some kind of like them so much that I just sleeve every single one of them. Not really, but you know what I mean. It's just cards that I do have in my collection, and what is not nice to start it off with my favorite mechanic of summoning, and that will be synchro summoning. Now, there's one problem with this. I wanted to do a top 10, but because I like synchro monsters so much, I ended up to do a top 15. So it's going to be a little bit more longer, but most of the time I'm going to focus more on a top 10s. So without further ado, let's get started with this video. And hopefully you will enjoy those, and we'll do more of them in the future. If not, I will stop them. But the reason why I also did it digitally, like, you know, images, and you see that, is because I want to show you my collections and card that I have special connection to, because, you know, I got him from a friend and everything, and just this card just started for me the game, and you know that stuff. So because of that, this is how that's going to go. So the things that we're going to look when we're going on this list is design, like I said, special connection with the card, to the meta game, whatever it is, or just in general, just an iconic card. So without further ado, once again, let's get started. And I'm sorry that I took 2.5 minutes for this intro, but I just wanted to address this kind of a new video. So let's get started. So for number 15 on our list, this is going to be one a lot of people of you going to like, but might ask why it's not higher on the list. But I'm just going to tell you guys, I started to play the game 3, maybe 4 years ago, once again, after I was in the original and GX era. So because of that, I kind of I didn't have the pleasure to play with this archetype, and that is Dragoonity. Dracoonity Knight Guy Dierg. I believe that's how it's pronounced, and I probably butchered the name even though I thought it's pronounced like this. But this is one of my favorite monsters by design, and probably by its effect too. Its effect is pretty good for an old archetype, I am told by some of experts, so I really like this card and I think it's pretty awesome. Once again, saying that I put this card on the bottom of the list is because I never have a connection to this card or this archetype, because I kind of quit during the middle GX era because I just stopped liking the game a little bit and then liking it again. Just never had friends to play with it anymore. So yeah, just before the 5Ds era, it's once again just kind of stopped for me. So unfortunately, I never got to enjoy this card in its prime. Yeah, sorry for that. I really sorry for that for myself. But yeah, for number 14 on our list after this card is Fallen Synchron. This card is here because I use him so much, and it's pretty iconic. Simple as that. Nothing too much to say about this card. Really liking it. Really awesome card. But except for being iconic and a card that I'm using a lot, I have nothing to say about this. Still a cool looking card though. Next up is number 13 on our list, is actually a card that you might ask yourself why it's not higher, because this is one of my favorite archetypes. But the reason is its design, and that is Ares Meteor Burst Dragon. This card, don't get me wrong, it's one of the most awesome cards in the entire Ares archetype. It's so awesome. It's easy to summon, It's summoned cards from Pendulum Zones, which is really, really important in the Link era right now, and just in general, it's on Synchro monsters. Why you think I don't like it? Well, I would say once again, it's the design. The design in this card feel a little bit, compared to the others, kind of bad. Like, Gravity Dragon looks awesome, I would say. Vortex looking amazing, and Absolute just looking just absolute. That's only thing. I'll just absolute zero if you want me to say so. But this card is just feeling like there's not so much effort put to it, and also its background is not the greatest, so it might be sounds like, just constant bickering, but for me, it's one of the worst Odyssey designs for, one of my favorite, main cards. So because of that, I'm talking about Extra X, of course, but yeah, because of that, I kind of it's here just because I like it as an archetype card, not more than that. So because of that, this is just number 13. And now for number 12, this is a card that a lot of people saw in the last 3 years probably, and then kind of came the True Dracos and everything, and a lot of people just stopped seeing Pendulums. And this is one of the strongest Synchro monsters we saw in a while. And if you don't know which monster I'm talking about Ignister. Ignister is one of the great support cards for Synchro monsters out there that can do Synchro Summon. This card just literally summon a monster from the deck if you have it, pop a card, and then shuffle a card immediately to the deck. So it can even pop your opponent's scales when it was in a mirror match and shuffle a card to their deck. So this card is so awesome. It's also a bit stick, and really, really easy to summon. And because of that, this card deserves a place on this list. The reason why it's not higher is because most of the other cards are kind of more emotional or iconic to me. And because of that, this card is just number 12. For the next card on the list, this is one you're going to get to the more awesome part. The reason why it's not in the top 10 is because, well, it didn't make the cut. And that is Cyframe Lord Omega. This card, you're probably thinking to yourself, you just like it because it's just a meta contender. Well, no. Actually, I like this card because it's the first pull that I have for my first 2 packs of High-Speed Riders that I open up after I don't know how many years that I didn't open up a pack. And because of that, this card just sending on this list because it's just one of my first Synchro monsters that I just actually pulled. So simple as that. And because of that is also a reason why I haven't sold him. This is my OG High-Speed Riders, as you can see, Omega. I do have another one from Light Revenge, but this one is the one that I'm actually more emotional connected to because this is one of my first Synchro monsters. And because of that, it deserves a place on this list, in my opinion. Next up, we're getting into the top 10 themselves. And for the starting off the top 10, why not start with an iconic monster? And I'm going to start off with the Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, or just in general, the Dragon Archfiend family. The reason why this is the bottom of the list of the top 10 is because I do like it, but there are a lot more cards than I like by design and everything. And this card, just in general, in my opinion, I choose this one because it's probably the best one and the most memorable one. Because, well, the original Red Dragon Archfiend is awesome, but its effect is not the greatest. The Hot Red Dragon Archfiend was amazing as well, but it's from the manga, so it's not so memorable. And this one is just a modified version, which is a lot more awesome than every single one of them. And it's an amazing stat and an amazing effect. The reason why I'm also not talking about the bigger versions is because this one is the OG. This one is the one that started it, so a lot of people are going to just remember him as the card that's going to be in the Red Dragon Archfiend archetype. And because of that, this card, in my opinion, deserves the number 10 spot on the list. And now for number 9. For number 9, we have another iconic card, not from the show, but an iconic Synchro monster, and that is Trish. Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Well, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm just putting it because it's awesome, and it's one of the strongest synchro monsters ever made. This effect is amazing. I'm just like, this one is not even a lie. It's the design is amazing, its effect is amazing, it's just an amazing card all around. And because of that, I thought, like, this kind of an iconic synchro monster, even though it's probably predictable, I still think this is one of the most better cards to put on this list, and it deserves a place on here. So because of that, it just deserves, in my opinion, place number 9. Next up is another card that all of you people we probably will not expect, and that is number 8, Armides, Keeper of Boundaries. Now remember when I talked about Omega being one of my first synchro monsters that I ever owned after, like, come back into the game? This one is the first one. The first one I got, and not from an actual pack, but from, like, trading with a friend and buying it. This is the first synchro monster that I got, and this one is pretty awesome. While I didn't use it so much, it still have an emotional connection just because this card is my first synchro monster. Well, I'm not saying just even from come back into the game, it's just my first synchro monsters that I ever had, because I stopped once again, like I told you guys, I stopped during the middle of the GX era to play the game because a friend of mine stopped to play. So yeah, and because of that, this card, in my opinion, just hold a special place to me because I do love Synchro, and this is one of the first one I ever had. So, well, not the first one, the first one. So, yeah, because of that, I think it just deserves a place in the list just because of that, and its design is awesome anyway. So, number 8, going to Armides, Keeper of Boundaries. Next up for number 7, this is more of like another iconic show card, but I just love the design and I love the character in the anime itself, and that is Black Rose Dragon. This card is awesome. This card is one of the cards that still survive from the entire 5Ds era up to today. I'm not talking about even Moonlight, I'm talking about the OG one. This card survived from the entire 5Ds era up to now. Like, there's some cards from the, like, the original series that survived, but, like, not in this kind of a huge of an impact and didn't have such an amazing effect, except from having, like, decks built around them. And even what I call GX, this is one of the first monsters, in my opinion, that I noticed up to today still played from an old series that's not even preferenced so much. And because of that, this is one of the greatest synchro monsters of all time. It's just a reset button. That's all what it does if you don't use its first effect. And it's not first, but other effect. When I read it on the card, this is the first effect. I'm sorry. But it's just a really amazing card. And in my opinion, one of the greatest synchro monsters ever created. And that's why it deserves a place on this list. Next up, for the last monster we don't have in the top 5, now before we get to it, this is another monster that I just love the design and I just love the archetype, and that is Flower Guardian Light Shower. From the entire Flower Guardian archetype, this is the best one and my favorite one to pick off, because, well, it's so amazing. Its effect is amazing. Its just design is amazing. All in general, just an amazing card. This card making it to the top 6 because it's making it one of my favorite synchro archetype of all time. And this is Flower Guardian because I just like to annoy people sometimes. And because of that, this card, in my opinion, deserves a place on the list because I love him, I use him, and just in general, an amazing artwork and an amazing effect. There's no so much thing to explain about this. And that is my decision to number 6. Now we're getting to the top 5, and here it's going to get kind of nice for you guys, probably. Some of you are going to see mostly iconic faces, or just cards that just like, you expected to see, but some of those actually going to be very surprising, so I'm really excited for this top 5 pick. But to start things over with the top 5, I'm going to start over with a very, very familiar face, and you're probably going to guess it, and that is Clearwing Synchro Dragon, or the entire Clearwing Synchro Dragon, in particularly Clearwing Synchro Dragon, because he started it over. It started Clearwing, it started Crystal Wing, it started the dark version of himself. Because of that, I think like Clearwing by himself deserved a place on the list, and because of that, I just really, really like this card. It's just a level 7 version of Stardust, and has an advanced version that almost resembles like Shooting Star Dragon. So yeah, this card is just awesome. Its effect is awesome. It's usable in every single deck. But yeah, just nothing to say about this card. This card is an amazing card, a new version of Stardust, you could say, by like, you know, his stars and stats and attribute. Just awesome card in general. And because of that, it deserves, in my opinion, the place of number 5. Number 4 on the list is probably going to look to you guys weird why it even make it high here, but I just love the design, and I love it when they also reference a little bit of history and make a little bit more of a lore behind the cards, not just like, you know, throwing out nice designs monsters, but, you know, just a lore behind it or some idea behind it. And that is DDD Cursed King Siegfried. I love the design of this card. This card is so badass. It really is. It's one of the greatest synchro monsters ever created in the last 2 years. This card is amazing for its archetype, in a nice support, and just has an amazing effect. It really is awesome. And I just like the sword behind him. It's just nothing more to explain about this. I love this card, I really do. And because of that, in my opinion, make number 4. Just because I like him. It's really that simple. And it's also pretty strong, so why not? This is my list, so if you want to criticize me for that, just do it in the comment down below. But I'm not going to listen anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Anyway, for the top 3, I'm going to choose one card that a lot of people are just going to look at me like, why the hell did you choose him? I just love the design. I really do, and I use him because of that. And that is Enlightenment Paladin. Just look at the design though. Even though it's not the greatest monster, it's amazing. It's one of the greatest cards ever created in the last few years, in my opinion, by design. Like, you know, just not putting like over the top background. I'm talking about like just as simple as this. This is one of the greatest simple looking cards in the entire game, in my opinion. And it's have nice stats, nice effect, and a lot of people actually just didn't like this card at the start. But when Pendulum Magicians came out, this card just didn't, like, I wouldn't say just shot himself out the gun and became like awesome, but it did see some play. Well, I still incorporated this card even though it didn't see some play before Pendulum Magicians. Like, you know, the new ones that we have. I liked this card before that. I tried to get this card before that because this card, in my opinion, it just has an amazing design and an amazing effect. It's also the first Synchro monsters that Yuya ever used. And once again, it just resembles Stardust. So, like in a spellcaster form, but it has the same stats, the same level, and it's supposed to be that, in my opinion. That's what they're trying to show in the show. See what I did there? But because of that, this is, in my opinion, deserved number 3 on the list, even though some of you guys will not agree. And yeah, nothing more to say about that. Let's move to the top 2. So for number 2, a lot of people are going to, once again, actually, I'm not 100% sure what you're going to say, because this card, in one opinion, you might say the scene is coming because of my liking of the archetype, but on the other hand, you might say, like, why? And that is basically number 2, Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. This card is awesome. This card is just everything an archetype can use for. ask for, sorry, not use for, but ask for, not even making a main card in the archetype, but like as a support for the extra deck. This is one thing that a lot of archetypes can use for, like, as a support card and as an idea for, like, how good card in the extra deck can just make a deck. This card is amazing and I love it for a few reasons. First off, my favorite monster of all time in the original series by using the original characters is Blue Eyes. And my favorite summoning mechanic is Synchro. And what happened when you combine them both? This thing. Its design is amazing. Its effect is amazing. It's one of my favorite monsters of all time because of its, like, even not on this list, one of my favorite monsters of all time, just because of its design and the combinations that it make on one card. This is just like a dream to me still that I'm holding this card, because this card is just everything that I wanted from a Blue Eyes. Just that. It's really that simple to me, and I really, really like this card. Also, you gotta say, even just not as a Yu-Gi-Oh player that like Blue Eyes, this design is really, really awesome. It really is one of the greatest artworks, once again, by using a generic background and a generic stance of a monster. Really, really amazing design by Konami. So, yeah, that's it for that. And now we'll move to our number one pick. So, a lot of you probably see it because I didn't put it anywhere on the list, and that is pretty much the Stardust family. Well, one card in particular of them you didn't saw that going to come here. This is one of my favorite monsters, if not my favorite monsters of all time, just because of the show. Because I liked Yusei, and I like this card so much. It's just so an amazing design, and it's really sad that I cannot see it up to this day because of its summoning requirements. And if you don't get which card of the Stardust family I'm talking about, let me shine a light for you. And I'm talking about Shooting Star Dragon. Yes, this guy. Not Quasar, not whatever the other ones are. Shooting Star Dragon. This is my favorite monster of all time because of its design. It's just an amazing card, and it's really, really awesome. I just don't know why. I just, like, because of Yusei that I love the character, I just fell in love with this card. This is just one of my favorite monsters, like I told you, if not my favorite one. And I'm really, really happy that I finally got a copy of him just in my hands recently in the last 2 months. So this card is so awesome. I love this card, and I do like the entire Stardust family, to be honest, because they're what started the game. They're one of the first Synchro monsters. They're the ace monsters of the original character of the 5Ds, and still, like, sorry, not original, but main character. I don't know what's wrong with me with original and main today, but it's still one of the greatest evolutions of Stardust Dragon. I really think it's one of them, because this card, it is showed to be the great evolution of Stardust Dragon. And, like, even in the end battle with Jack and, like, Yusei, you still see this card and not shooting Quasar Dragon. This is the greatest evolution of Stardust, and it's looking amazing. And because of that, I just love this card. This is really, really have an awesome effect, kind of an anime effect, and that's why another reason why I like it, and I put it on the top of the list. Once again, I'm saying I love the entire Stardust family, but this one, it design and everything, it just stand up to me the most out of all of them, and I love him so much. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Sorry that I just took a lot of your time about this, but this is my top 15 favorite monsters that I own through the Synchro mechanic. So yeah, once again, hope you guys enjoyed. This is a new type of thing, and if you want me, don't worry, I will shorten the videos. I'm really, really excited about this mechanic. As you all know, this is my favorite one. So yeah, that's it for that, and hopefully, once again, you like the type of the video, and we'll make more of those in the future. If you want me to make a digital version, like, when I'm using computer and just photos, we'll do that, but for now, I just want to show you my collection, so that's the reason behind that. And another thing before we go, you still have a time that you can just help yourself, help me choose the deck for Monday. You still have chance for that. This is going to close in this end of the week, in like Saturday, like, you know, the in 12, when it's turned to Sunday in the morning. This is the decision is going to be closed. So if you want to put a deck of you, like, you know, you want to vote for a certain deck, now it's the time. So I'm just going to tell you guys from the bottom of the list to the highest of the list which one is going to be first. So on the bottom of the list, we have Predator Plants, then we have Shiranui's Leerlusk, Felgrand, and Ritual Dragon standing on the top. So if you want to see one particular deck before the other, just vote them. I will put once again in the comment section down below which number to vote, and then you can decide the deck that you want to see first. So yeah, that's it for that. Sorry that I talked 25 minutes just talking about 15 cards, but I just really excited about this kind of, you know, new videos that I'm doing. I'm just really once again excited that I finally reached 100 subscribers. So I hope it's understandable and you're not too much angry that it's long. So if it's long, do not worry. In the future, we'll try to do better and make it, you know, shorter. But for now, I just want to do an introduction and everything. So yeah, that's it for that. Hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget to like, subscribe. It's really helped the channel, and we're certainly growing. When we keep growing, and we might even reach 200 in the next half year. So yeah, that's it for that. And remember, creativity is the key in this game. Have a good day, guys.